Hello, it is Saturday and it is Ally Week. No, that's actually a thing. It is Advice Week on how to be an ally. I'm gonna start this video with something that's like totally not even advice at all, so forgive me. I'm totally like a huge fanboy of allies. Is that a thing? Recently someone asked me what the A was doing at the end of the LGBTQIA, and he was saying that allies didn't go through like any of the discrimination that we have to go through, everybody else in the acronym has to go through, so how do they deserve that letter? They didn't earn that letter. And I responded about how I thought that allies did belong in our community and that they could advocate and benefit our community just as much as we could, and then I said sometimes they can even do more than we can do for ourselves, and he did not appreciate that. I got my ass handed to me, or at least he tried to hand my ass to me. Anyway, he launched into this whole thing about how that was a big smack in the face to all these queer people who have like paved the way for our community and done all of this good, and I will say this, there are powerful queer voices that cannot be replicated by any cis straight person. No ally can be an equivalent force in the queer community as a queer person can. I think the people who already have a bias against LGBTQ people, I think there's a much higher chance of straight cis people getting through to them than queer people, because people do not listen to people that they don't agree with, that they don't like, that they hate. If anyone's going to change their mind about someone, it's probably going to be somebody they like, whose opinion they respect, who they don't think is automatically already wrong about anything. So why would they pay attention to their opinions when they already know that they're just, always wrong because they're a wrong person? And while straight cis people, allies, will never know what it's like to be whatever identity they're helping advocate for, no matter who you are, if you're standing up for this cause, straight, cis, queer, anybody who's advocating for us, you are putting yourself at risk by verbally speaking out against homophobia, transphobia, racism, sexism, anything. By voicing a controversial opinion, you are making yourself vulnerable to be attacked by whoever you're voicing that to. And some people might say, that is the basic requirement for being a decent person. And I would say I don't necessarily agree, because it is really hard to stand up for stuff like that. There have been situations where I stood up for LGBT rights and whatnot, and I have not outed myself as anything but straight or anything but cis. Even them thinking that I'm still a straight cis person, standing up for stuff like that, it's nerve-wracking, it's hard, because they're going to judge you for your opinions no matter what you actually identify as, no matter what you actually are. And I think it is so easy to just not say anything. Joining them would be a bad idea. Well, obviously that is making you not a good person. Not saying anything is just, you could be a perfectly good person and you just, I'm not saying you don't have courage, but I'm saying that maybe you just don't have the courage at the moment to stand up to people. And I know it is hard, and there have times when I've been silent and I regret it, but it's a thing that happens to good people. And I think if you're cis and you're straight and you don't have like really a need to stand up for this kind of thing, I think that if you do, that's a hard thing, and you are going kind of above and beyond. I'm not saying you're like the best person in the world, I'm not putting allies on a pedestal, I'm trying not to, but when my brother, my straight, masculine, younger brother with all these straight male friends who, throw around gay and fag and stuff like that, the fact that if he ever stands up for me, which he does, and the fact that he doesn't use the words gay and fag anymore when he used to, and he's doing that for me, that doesn't make me satisfied with him as a person. That makes me really proud. I think he's a really good person for the way that he is an ally. It's hard to be an ally. It's hard to be queer, and it's hard to be an ally. It's hard to be an ally even when you're queer, and thus it is hard to be an ally when you're not queer. And I don't think allies get enough credit, and sometimes I think they get too much credit. And I'm probably guilty for giving them too much credit sometimes, but if I didn't have allies in my life, I would be nowhere. I would have gone nowhere. There would be no me. I wouldn't have been able to transition. I might not even be here at all. So now let's give some advice on how to be an ally. My favorite thing that has been said this week was in Cole's video just yesterday. He said, advocate for the people that you know. There is no way that you can advocate for an entire community because everyone's different. And I think that is so spot on. When there's people in the same community with conflicting opinions of what an ally should be, there's no way to be the perfect ally. It is impossible. Like with feminism, there are people who say just identify as a feminist, get the name out there, like make it grow and stuff. And there are other people who say, if you are not a woman, you cannot take that label, you do not deserve space in that community, you're a feminist ally, you are something other than a feminist, you can't identify as a feminist. And these are two completely opposite opinions within the same community, and if you're trying to be an ally to women, how are you going to be the perfect ally when the community that you want to be an ally for has different opinions of what you should be. So there are two things that you need to be an ally. The first thing is to stand up for what you believe in. If you really believe you're right and you think you've done the research and you want to stand up for it, because there's always going to be somebody who's not going to agree with the way that you're standing up for something, or will not agree with what you're standing for. The second part, which is what actually makes an ally, because you could be standing up for what you believe in and be saying, I hate the gays, like they should never get married. Like, I don't consider that an ally, obviously, and you're standing up for what you believe in. The second part to being an ally is to revise your opinions. Always listen to every side of every story. If you're listening to people, I'd hope that the logical conclusion that you could make by the compilation of all arguments on both sides is that we're fine people. Queer people are perfectly fine. They're not any worse than anyone else. But then you're gonna hear all these different stories, or how you fit into their space and how you fit into the rest of society, and if you're part of the queer culture and if you're not, and if you need to stay out or if you need to jump in. And you just need to be listening and revising your definition of an ally, standing up for what you believe in, and the people that you know are gonna be the people that you're gonna be the best ally to. Okay, see you next Saturday. Goodbye.